Hello, and welcome to Faz-Anim 2 Give Life. This is the long awaited sequel to one of the last remaining RR Engine projects that I'm allowed to legally have online publicly. Thank you, Scott. And this is going to be in a brand new engine. It's going to be in Godot instead of Unity. It is going to be completely changing how we ram shows. I'm going to be mainly talking to people who are already familiar with Faz-Anim. If you aren't familiar with Faz-Anim, then Faz-Anim was a FNAF fan game that let you program whatever characters that you wanted. It introduced, hopefully, to a lot of the FNAF community, animatronics really function and work. I wanted to, a lot of modern animatronics have a lot of very fancy software to get them to run, but I wanted it to be a program where you just push buttons, it would open a jaw, move a hand, whatnot, and you had to do it linearly in a timeline, and that was it. Later on, we did get introduced to the editor. I spent like 6 months on this thing, though I'm personally looking back, it was okay. But it let people fine tune their segments and easily delete any mistakes on it. It was really fun. It wasn't the best because I did started out at the beginning of learning how to program, and so it was kind of a mess near the end. And as you know, I got into after Faz-Anim completed. I worked on Reel to Reel. Reel to Reel got cease and desisted, so I just kind of stopped. Eventually, a year ago on the channel, I started talking about New Imagination, and this is basically kind of stemming from that, though it's way more refined. New Imagination was going to just kind of improve over the original formula, make it still kind of this simple show system, but make it to where like this original system was built for VR where you had two panels you had to physically look at and click on, and it was to remove a lot of UI from the screen. I don't personally like UI, but New Imagination was going to introduce on-screen UI that would help you way more with things and the editor more accessible live. But I didn't like that in the end, and also there wasn't a lot of interest in New Imagination. So Give Life is now going to be, because it's FNAF, more people will be interested in it, and I might return to New Imagination after this engine is fully developed. But for now, we're doing Faz-Anim 2. So Faz-Anim 2's system, and also I will say, I've already been doing a bunch of updates for the past week. I'm only releasing this video because now it is in a working state where you can record show tapes with audio and actually record them all, back to back. So actually, let's get into the game and I will show you how this brand new system works. All right, and here is the game. We got Chica, a new version, and Spotlight, and that's it so far for these early builds. I'm showing the development just like the first game from the very beginning. You can download first build where it's practically nothing, but this is about a week in, so we got these things to control, but there's no panels or anything to do. Do have the escape key, which opens up this. This is the node graph. So yes, this entire game is going to run on nodes. This is to give you infinitely more complex ways to program shows than just pressing keys to whatever I decide to let you press. And I will try to put, certain control on what you can do with the show. This is going to open up so much. So, for example, and you can also press tab. If you're going to play this afterwards, you can press tab to hide the background. This is the spotlight node. You can see I could change the intensity here. I can change the color to whatever I want. Change the size of the spotlight. And let's say I want to control this just live. We're going to deal with some live stuff before we get to recording. So here is all the current nodes so far. So let's go with the usual. Let's go with keystrokes. That'll be your 1 through 0 keys. So we can drag that over to intensity. And when I hit the key, it turns on. I can drag it this one. Number 2 key hits it. I can click on this to detach it. So that's interesting. That's pretty standard. But I can go to keystroke ramp. This is a way of doing things. So let's set the output to the intensity. Now this has all the number keys change how intense this spotlight is. So in this case, there are no on and off anymore. There can be variation between them. So if you do notice, this yellow indicates that it is just going to be an on and off thing. This blue indicates it is a number. You can hover over the thing here. Actually, I can zoom in real quick. You can hover. Oh, that doesn't change the size of it. You can hover over, and when you rehover, tell you exactly what this is. So these are between 0 and 1. So on this thing's basically 0 or 1. This will be between those two. So it's 0.6, and then 0.7, 0.8. So this opens up a lot, but this still kind of feels a little janky. You can also quickly hit toggle. This actually holds that position no matter which one you type. But, again, still looks pretty instant. It doesn't really do much. So let's add in a lerp node. So this is a term for smoothly going between values. So let's plug it into the value, plug the output into intensity. Let's set the speed to about here. And then set different things, and they transition. So I can make it real slow. Like if I go from completely off, completely on, does that. I can set it up real high, make it basically instant, but it has a little bit of a change to it. So that's pretty cool. So that's interesting, but let's change the color. Let's go. So I can just set the color here. Here is one. Mix colors. So we plug that in. We are going to get, currently right now it's just at 0, so it'll be at factor A. But if I plug this in, we'll change to blue. So you can now, on certain spotlights, I won't make it the spotlight for Chica. I'll make it like her bigger light, and then have a separate one for the spotlight. But you can change the color of lights. And so that also looks a little messy. So why don't we also get a lerp node and plug the value into that and plug that into the factor. And now it can smoothly transition that way and get even like a little purple in there. There we go. And another cool thing, not everything has to be directly inputted. We also have a sine node, so it produces a sine wave. Actually, I don't even need to put that in the lerp. I can just put that in directly. Slow that down a bit. And it does it automatically. So one thing you can do is you can have live, or you can have recorded segments in your show tapes. You can also have live things happen alongside the show tape. Like, for instance, I don't know, there's a button on the wall and someone can press it during the show and it will change something about the show or start on a live element. Because eventually, yes, I will add that to where, like, let's say, what can I do here? I actually can probably do this now with the keystrokes if I think about it. I can do mix floats, which this is the term for the blue line is a float. So let's put that into here, and then plug key 1 into the factor. And so if I hold down the key, then it will play the thing, but if I let go, it will stop it. So, and it can stop it either on the red, on purple, or on blue, whichever one it wants to do for that. So there's a lot of interesting things. I mean, there is infinite possibility just for this one thing. And so I have so many different things. But let's get all these out and let me show you how to do recording, because this is also kind of a tutorial. This is very complex and new to some people, so I want to have a video where you can really understand what's going on. So this is the record node. So what I want you to kind of frame this as, and let's pull up his actual outputs here. Let's take something to load. I'm gonna speed up how fast these nodes load eventually. So kind of what you want to think of is that, here, let's add a float here. We're gonna name it jaw. Is that things go into the record node, and that is everything you want to put into recording, any of your special groups that are going to control things. And all of the outputs will go directly to animatronic spotlights, all that stuff. So you don't want to ever directly connect anything on the left side to the right side unless you want it to be a live element. So with this, let's see, let's move a little closer so we can see. All right, so yeah, pressing 1 opens the jaw. Oh, also real quick, I will go ahead and note this. You're curious what happens with um, these smaller inputs for things. Anything between halfway point 0.5 and more turns it on, but at different speeds. So, like right here, kind of does it slowly, but all the way does it fast. And then, kind of the reverse, anything below zero point 0.5 will retract it slowly or retract it all the way fast. So, with these smoother inputs, you can now control the speed of how you want to control character movements. And there's one exception to that. I'll only make slight exceptions on certain characters. Um, if I plug it into the eyelids here, I know this is a tangent, this is very important. I plug this on to all 4 of the eyelid movements. This actually will set the position of the eyelid. So 0 is fully closed, all the way back to 1 is fully open. So you can have them squint, and of course I could have this connect just to like the bottom eyes. So they can just do like that. But yeah, you can control things like that now. I didn't do that to the eyebrows, but if you want to mod in your own character, which is way easier in this engine to do, you could have their eyebrow movements controlled by individual little clicks like that. So, anyways, back to recording for the jaw. Let's get this out of here. Get that out and just plug in a simple on off. So, how are we going to record this? Well, you need a timeline node, and this plays time. It outputs like a float. So, if you want to think about it, when I hit play on this, and it even represents it gets brighter and brighter. It just goes past 1 and it just keeps counting up forever. You can have rewind, have it count down till 0, then restarts it. And you can actually just hold down restart and it'll keep it like that. So very simple node. You can plug a timeline node into the jaw directly. Actually, I'm pretty sure I clamp it, right? Yeah, I clamped it. Okay. This node, not for recording. You can use it for whatever you want. It's simple as that. But it plugs into the time or the record node, and this will determine what is recording. So the record node is looking for inputs that we're going to send in, and it will just output them normally. But if we hit the record toggle, it will record each value at a different point in time, and when you timeline node back in and play it back, it will output those nodes or those signals as well. So let's just do something simple. We're going to hit record, we're going to hit restart, play, and then let go of restart. And we're just going to move the jaw a little bit. And then we're going to restart. And we can keep the recording. Actually, I'll show this. Yeah, you can keep the recording on. As long as you don't input anything, it will ignore the initial value that it reads from this. So you can let go, and you can see it records the movements. Exactly. So, and I can, if I want to, now this will be weird on certain things like a spotlight color, but if I want to, while it's outputting, I can also continue to output my own thing. And it will look a little weird. It works. It's outputting what you're expecting. So it kind of will, when you insert weird values between things, it'll try to smooth between them. But it works. I can add another float, so I can add a color. Let's say color. And go back to the spotlight right here. And I can still plug that in and control that however I want. Mix colors. Let's go here. Turn down intensity, turn down the size. Let's get small. There we go. I plug in the color that I can change. And then we're going to record and restart and change it from blue to red, however we want. And then restart, play back, and it does that. Ain't that cool? Yeah, that is how recording works. You can play around and have fun with that however you want. But I will also mention how audio works. So let's get some audio plugged into this. So, if you're just doing a single show tape, not necessarily you need to really have this go through the record node, but it is useful. So we'll still show it because you can switch audio in the middle of recording because audio is also programmable. So we got right here is an audio node. This will let us select any file on our computer. I'm going to not select a file on my computer, but you can choose whatever you would want. Can add an audio node here. We'll type in audio right there. So we can plug that in, and we can plug this into direct output. This will be exactly to the speakers of your device. I will add other nodes for if you want to control speakers in game, but for right now, this will be direct audio output. But the audio that's being sent through these nodes is not actual an audio stream. It is simply the path to the file name, which is saved in your save folder. This is actually entire save. There's a whole workspace section down here. I have a bunch of save files. These actually, when you import your audio, will save them to this file. This is what you share with people because everyone's node setup's completely different. So you can't send just show tapes anymore. You're going to be sending entire workspaces. But also there is benefits of that because workspaces be zipped up and have files inside them all neatly, and you can read them very easily. I made the output format for this so easy to read. You can mod this format however you want. But that also means the audio files are directly in a subfolder. So you can just pull the files out of anyone's what they send you, which is cool, or replace them with your own. So, anyways, it does just say the path to the folder. So this is not outputting direct audio. When you have a speaker node here, you actually want to connect the timeline to that so that way it can seek to the correct point. And then you also have control for volume here. But that also means, and this is more relevant to video than audio, but you can change the time to be different than your current time. You can have a second timeline node recording and output that. So similar to certain animatronic shows, you can have the video screens play different parts of the video. Or if we were to add a mix audio node here, switch audio. So similar to if we had a switch video node here, you could switch the video between different feeds on different TVs whenever you want. So you have any output, any TV output, any video you want at any time, which I think is really powerful. You could not do this stuff at all in Faz-Anim. And I tried to implement it. It was such a mess you couldn't do it because you really need a system like this to fully take advantage of it. So now we have that. So also, if you want, now when I expand to the arcade of the location and stuff, you can have game room audio play versus the actual show tape audio as well. So tons of potential there. But yeah, that is how you directly output. So you want to connect your current time to it and then connect which audio it needs to play to that. So that is the whole system. Again, right now, not really too much. I mean, there's a lot of nodes, but I wouldn't consider that a lot of the functionality built in yet. But there is already a lot you can do. I forgot to mention there's also a random node. You can output completely random junk to nodes if you want, set how quickly it changes value. There's cool stuff in here. There is more to come, and it will get increasingly more complex and fun. But it's still pretty simple. It's up to you if you want to add all this crazy stuff. If you want to just plug a keystroke node into a record node, record that, and be done with it, you are free to just do it like it was in Faz-Anim, and you press some keys and you're done. But if you want to go a step further and have fun parts to your show, you can now do that now. There is no restrictions on you anymore, as much as I can lift from this engine. So I hope you enjoyed this. The game is fully open source, so you can look at the code, you can mod whatever you want in. It's generally pretty easy to mod in stuff. And there will be updates coming very soon. Weekly, at least, there will be an update. As per usual, I like updating my animatronic sims. If you're curious, after I just released this Faz-Anim video, I'm now releasing a Faz-Anim video. I'm actually still working on Faz-Anim. I just need a programming project and an art project in my life at the same time. So Faz-Anim will be on my days where I don't want to work on Give Life, and Give Life will be when I don't want to work on Faz-Anim. So that's my fun balance in my life that I like. And I also get to work on Cheese-E-Pedia. If I want to work on history stuff, that's my other side that I like to do. So, but yeah, if you're curious about looking into development as it happens, if you want to talk to me, I'm not creating a Faz-Anim Discord server like last time. I just have too much stuff to deal with, especially now that I am wanting to have the forums for Faz-Anim. There already are forums. So if I want to have to moderate another place, I just want it to be that. So you can join the Cheese-E-Pedia server. I'll link it in the description. In that server, I just happen to have a Give Life channel. You can ask for permission to view it, and I'll let you in. So, but anyways, I hope you enjoy. I hope you make tons of show tapes with it as I expand this out further and you get creative with your shows. Oh, this was long, worth the wait to finally get this. So, y'all have a good day.